Welcome everybody to the third installment of the Professor Cheng 4-direction pushing hands method. So part one we did mechanics, part two some techniques, and now for part three we're going to do some techniques and some counters and follow-ups and just give you another level of some stuff you can do in the 4 directions. Some of it's really fun. And you might find yourself in these predicaments, and it's kind of some fun ways to get out of it. Today my practice partner, demonstration partner, is Fred Sparks. So one of the techniques that we did before was the shut-in, ward-off. So if he pulls his elbows really far back, and he's going to get the push, and you can see he's too far back, I'm going to fill that in with the ward-off. Now, you know, if he pushes this way, you can see I got the strong position, his is shut in. But there is a way to get out of that, and it's so simple. If he pushes straight back at me, he's going to be a very strong or big person to make this root go away. But if he pushes at a slight angle, and now he can come right back in, now I have to go back to the method. So we go. So if I shut him in, he can push to the depth, because he's not going force against force. So when he finds himself shut in, he's just going to turn to the corner and aim the push over this way. That breaks my root, and now it's a good idea for me to go back to the soft. Again, not force against force. My root, the ward-off is straight into a stance. He's actually going to push that way, break my root a little bit, and then come back in. The other part two, we did some pulls. There's a lot of counters to pull. One thing you want to figure out, is it a fast pull or a slow pull? So if after I do press, if he does a really fast pull and I try to step, it's just going to, there's too much momentum going on. So if it's a fast pull, I want to do the escape and press, or the escape and push. I just want to snap down and go. If I try to step, my step will add momentum to that pull. Or if he does the pull after the roll back. If he goes fast, I go fast. The classics say respond quickly to quick attacks, slowly to slow attacks. So if he's doing a fast pull, I want to get a fast escape and give him a push. If he does a slow attack, this is a time when I can actually step in and do shoulder. So if he does a slow pull after my press, do slow, I can step in and do shoulder. Because it's slow, he's starting to pull me off balance, but I can get my balance with the step. Or after roll back. If it's slow, I can step in and do diagonal flying. Again, if he's slow, I'm going to be slow. So if he starts to pull me off balance, I have time, I can change up and move. Whereas if I try to step, if I try to do that diagonal flying, when he does a fast pull, it just that pull adds to my step and makes momentum. Can't get it. Now, when the person is shifting to you to do push, you know, their weight's on the back foot, and they want to get on the front foot to push, there's going to be a part where their weight's 50-50. We call that double weighted. There's neither foot is established as the one that's holding the gravity. When you're double weighted, sometimes it's really hard to neutralize. So if I'm forward, he's backward, I'm just going to have my hand lightly on his shoulder, and when he's halfway through, halfway through, I'm just going to do a small pat. Just going to push him off. Now if I try to do it when he's got his weight all in the back, it's just going to neutralize. If I wait too long, this is going to neutralize. But if I catch him right in the middle, it's hard to neutralize. And what I want to do as a beginner, I want to look at his feet first. Later you can do it by feel. You can feel when that little door opens. But for now, I'm just going to look at him and go, okay, that's about halfway. You know, you read the stories of like young Lachan doing the pat and the people go flying. You know, it could be that his pat is so strong or he's got such strong chi or whatever. The way I look at those stories is, it shows you how weak the other person's position was that a small movement can upset the balance. So it's not that the pat is that strong, it's that he's weak when he's 50-50. Now, if you do the long form, the counter is fan through the back. So as he starts, when he feels the pat, he's going to continue shifting, going to lift that, take that off, and he's going to pin me and push me. So it's still his push, but he's going to change to fan through the back. It's my default. So you can see how slick that works, fan through the back. So it's really common that if I want to get a stronger push, I got to get closer to this person. I want to start getting into their territory. So there's a couple ways to do it. Master Liang would call it stealing steps, but I broke it down into step in and push and stealing step and push. So here's one way to do it. After his press, when my weight's on the back, all I'm going to do is I'm going to step in as I push. You know, if I keep my feet, he can go back. But if I step in, he can go back, but there's too much pressure on that stance. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to adjust my foot. I'm going to step in or steal in before I push. Another way to do it is to step in after I push, and I'm technically going to get 2 pushes. So he's back, I'm forward. What I can do before I go to the press is just steal my foot up and give him the push. So this is after your push. I push, and now I got nothing more. He's back. I can steal my back foot up. And now I've got lots of room to get him a push. So that one is stealing step. I'm stealing his territory. Now the counter, or the counters, again, when you're first learning this, sometimes you've got to use your eyes and look what's going on first, and then later you can do it by feel. Once you get a bunch of reps, you can feel it. You can feel how that person's doing the technique. So if Fred's watching, when I pick up my front foot to step in, he can fill that space with the shut-in ward off. As I go back, as I lift up, yep. It's like I went back, you know, like a slingshot. I went back to go in, he's going to fill that in. And again, if you're new to these techniques, you just watch. You can watch. There you go. Now, for the stealing step, if we stop right in the middle, so I'm forward, he's backward, I bring my rear foot up. Before I've stepped in, I'm in like a neutral position. I got no stance, I got nothing going on. He's got a lot of options. So one is that pat on shoulder. So if he's watching, when my feet are together, all you gotta do is just give it a tiny pat. You want to do that when my feet are together and not when my momentum's going forward. So I come up, I bring the foot up, and just before I can step and push, he's just going to pat me out of that stance. He can also use the ward off and make me step back again. It's like I can't quite get my foot up there. Another thing he can do, which works into the part of Tai Chi we call Dalu. Dalu means big roll back. Usually big roll back has a step. One thing he can simply do is when I get my feet together, when I step in, he can go back with his left foot and let me through, and you could lock my arm or do the Dalu. So if he missed this chance, now this foot's in, he can just go back. There you go. Okay, so that gives you a couple ideas of techniques and counter and follow-ups. Familiarity of touch. You want to do these a bunch of times, and again, these are the building blocks. This isn't the advanced be-all, get-all, do-all of pushing hands. This is just getting the ABCs and starting to put some words and sentences together. Later I'm going to do a series on some advanced drills, and then I will do some methods for freestyle. How to do the true freestyle, how to mix it all up, and at that point, we'll be deeply into the willows of 3, 4, and 5. Until then, just practice these. Make sure you practice very softly with your partner. If you're going to put power, you might want to turn and have a wall behind them. And then here's the only caution I can give you. If you're going to fall, make a ball. If you put your hand down, you got a really good opportunity to break your wrist or your elbow. If for some reason you start to fall, make a ball. So what I usually like to talk to people before is like, we're going to go light power, or if we want to do these techniques with a lot of power, a lot of what people call Fa Jing, issue a lot of energy. Make sure you have some kind of stop, a mattress on the wall, or you have something for safety. I mean, I've seen it. I'm not making this up. I've seen people fall, put their hand down to stop, and break their wrist. I mean, it's just one of those things. So, if you fall, make a ball. Thank you.